come to order. Today's meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is called to order on Wednesday, March 26, 2025. Welcome, everyone. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Agendas of today's meeting are on the wall at the entrance to chambers. Remember to turn off your cell phones. The Municipal Code Enforcement Board consists of 7 members who are appointed by the City Council. We serve voluntarily. It is this board's intention to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Clearwater by providing this equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing certain codes within the city. The board considers new business items in 2 parts. First, the violation, and then affirmative relief. Formative rules of evidence do not apply. Each side is limited to 15 minutes. The board may grant additional time. All proceedings will be conducted in a calm, civil manner. Individuals who conduct themselves otherwise will be asked to leave. If necessary, they will be escorted from the chambers. Now I ask all who plan to speak to rise and be sworn in by our clerk. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of last month's meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Is there anyone here to speak to items that are not on today's agenda? If so, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, Board. Sarah Green, Code Compliance Supervisor. I just want to take a second to introduce you to our newest code inspector. This is Jared Daniels. He came over from an internal position over in public utilities, so hopefully you'll be seeing code cases from him soon.
Welcome.
It's lovely. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything that's not on our agenda today? Then we will get started with our new business items. Today is 4.1 on our agenda is case 09-25, fine respondents Tanner Tolung at 1233 Sediva Circle South in violation of code for fences and walls, residential business tax receipt, and lot clearing, and issue an order with compliance and deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that? No? Inspector Dixon, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Board. Inspector Dixon, Code Compliance Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is case 09-25 for 1233 Sediva Circle South. There are 3 violations at this property, one for lot clearing and a hazardous tree, fence maintenance, and a lack of a residential rental business tax receipt. Notice of violation went out at the beginning of September, then the storms happened, holidays, so there's a little delay in moving this case along. There are various compliance dates throughout the time. None of the mail that I sent out was ever signed for. It all came back, so the property was posted in December. The property in question is on the right side of this picture where the fence is. Their property line juts into the adjacent property a little bit, and the adjacent property is tired of cutting this back corner. So he asked that we step in and do something about the fence, the grass, and the tree. Those little orange flags there are from our survey department. I asked them to go out so that I knew right where the property line was. These pictures are from September. The dates aren't correct on the photos, but they're from September when I initially wrote it up. The fence is broken. There's a tree that's only partially there anymore by that little building and the overgrowth. This is in December when I posted the property. The fence has deteriorated a little more. The grass is a little taller. Nothing's really been done. This is in February.
Is there anyone living at the property?
Yeah, there's renters there.
Is there?
Then I went back to check prior to the meeting, and they have cut the grass. I think there's 1 fence panel that's been picked up, so they're close, but they're still in violation. So compliance can be met for lot clearing by clearing a small amount of overgrowth on the southeast corner of the property, remove the remnants of the dead tree. Compliance can be met for the fence maintenance by removing or repairing defective fence panels. Compliance can be met for the lack of business tax receipt by obtaining a residential rental business tax receipt for the property. I have 3 different recommendations. I don't know if you want me to run through them all and then you go through them, or one at a time.
That's up to you. It doesn't matter to us.
Okay, for the, my recommendation for the fence maintenance, since I'm requesting compliance on or before May 1st, the violation continues to exist, I would like to impose a fine of $150 per day each day the violation continues to exist. For lack of business tax receipt, request compliance on or before May 1st. If the violation continues to exist, impose a fine of $50 a day for each day the violation continues to exist. And for the lot clearing violation, we're requesting compliance 5 days after the board renders its order.
Board, do we have any questions for Inspector Dixon?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr.
No
Keenan.
contact with the owner at all, no response, nothing?
No.
Okay. I have a question regarding since we've got 3 different violations, do we address each one of those
Yes.
separately because of the 3 votes?
Yes, we're going to address each one, vote on each one separately.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So, any other questions? All right, well, can I get a motion on the very first violation?
Well, I'll first make the first motion. I move
Oh,
to find
I'm
the
sorry.
respondent
Yes.
violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now, Mr. Farrell.
I move to enter, this is regarding the fence on case 09-25, I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before May 1st, 2025. If the respondent does not comply by that date, a board may order a fine of $150 per day for each violation, for each day each violation continues to exist. The fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed. The city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Okay.
I move to enter order requiring the respondents to correct the violation. This is in regard to the BTR on case 0925. I move to enter an order requiring the respondents to correct the violations on or before May 1st, 2025. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $50 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. The fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed. The city is authorized to collect such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
So
carries.
this is actually, this is an abatement? Abatement, yeah, this is a different style.
Different style of motion.
Nuisance abatement, yes, so here we
Yeah.
go. Case number 0925 regarding the lot clearing, I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with the reasonable cost which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next case is 4.2, it's been withdrawn. 4.3 on our agenda, case 11-25. Find respondents Ritty Investments LLC at 1915 Drew Street in violation of code for sign maintenance and issue an order with a compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that case? No? Inspector Berger, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, board.
Good afternoon.
I've never seen that many more board members.
We're full. We're happy now.
Right, I'm Stephen Burkhardt, sign inspector for the city of Clearwater. This is case 11-25 for 1915 Drew Street. There's one violation regarding code section 3-1502I for sign maintenance. All signs shall be maintained in good condition in the form in which the signs were originally approved, free of mildew, rust, loose material, including peeling or fading paint or materials. Any loose, broken, peeling, or faded parts of the sign shall be promptly repaired, painted, or replaced. So the notice of violation was mailed January 15th of this year. Compliance date was January 29, 25. Certified mail receipt received February 4th, of 25. It's a plaza, freestanding plaza sign at the location consisting of 2 I-beams and a cabinet. It got damaged, it was a car accident. A car actually ran into it and damaged one of the I-beams and also the cabinet. You can see here there is some damage and rust also at the I-beam. So that case goes a little bit back. It was a little discussion with it, how to deal with it, how it is repaired, or if it has to be removed. So it took a little bit for us, but I'm from the beginning in contact with the property owner, and one second, you can see the cabinet got even more damage. That's a picture from January 13th of this year after the hurricane. Since the panels, some panels were missing, when wind blows in, it damaged the cabinet even more. The sign, meanwhile, is painted. At least the rust is gone, but still the I-beam needs to be replaced and to come to compliance. The cabinet is still not repaired, and so it requires a permit. The permit application is meanwhile submitted from the contractor, but we're still waiting for an approval. So it's under review. The permit is not obtained yet. So we're waiting for that. And then once the permit is obtained, they can begin the work on the sign. Compliance for the freestanding sign in need of maintenance can be met by repairing the sign and sign structure so that it is in good condition, free of any damage, rust, discoloration, fading, and or peeling paint elements, or remove the sign and the sign structure. The recommendation for this case, 11-25, is 1 violation for sign maintenance, requesting compliance on or before April 26, 25. If the violation continues to exist, impose a fine of $150 per day each day the violation continues to exist. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Please. Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that a realistic date, considering the permit hasn't been approved?
Well, since the case that goes back to 23 already, so already the property owner had enough time to deal with it. We still can, I mean, we can see if at least the permit is granted by then, and then we can go from there. But I would just say, you know, as a first step, to see if they get the permit for that. And then let's see from there.
Give a little pressure.
Okay, thanks.
Do we know how long ago they submitted for permit?
They submitted permit 3 days ago.
Okay.
And the original violation was in 23,
Wow.
or
Yes. Yes.
2023?
pressure.
With the heat you got in lights.
Yeah, I don't see any,
I'm good with it.
I mean, I'm good, too.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I move to
Motion approved.
enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before April 26, 2025. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If the fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion approved. All right, next case is 4.4, 4.4 on our agenda, case 12-25. Fine respondents Thomas Rizkovsky at 1384 Seabree Street in violation of code for grass parking and lot clearing, and issue an order of compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that case? Well, Inspector Jensen, you have the floor.
Thank you. Inspector Dave Jensen, City of Clearwater Code Compliance. This is case 12-25 for 1384 Seabreeze. Actually got 2 different violations. One's going to be a community development code, the other's going to be a public nuisance. Just presenting them both here for you. And then we'll have basically the 2 different readings at the end. The CDC is for residential parking of an RV or motorhome and grass parking, and then the PNU is for junk and debris accumulation. These are the dates for the junk and debris posting and mailing and the compliance date, and same for the CDC. An extension on the parking for the RV was given to the owner at his request during the initial period. However, I've had several emails back and forth with the owner, a couple of in-person conversations, and one of the last conversations was him telling me, I'll see you in court because I'm not moving the motorhome. So that's kind of where we're at. So this was originally how I found it. If you look, this line right here in the grass, and you'll see another couple slides here, is the property line between our violator's house and the neighbor. When I first came across this, it had an expired tag. He did address that after quite a bit of time. So it's no longer considered an in-op, however, it's still parked in the same spot. Again, I've had several conversations and emails. I forwarded the ordinances that apply to this to him a couple different times, included them in mailings, and explained to him it cannot be parked where it's at, the setback requirements, all those sorts of things. Posting the notice on the original date back in December. In the time I've had this zone for about the last year and a half, 2 years, I've personally cited the property a couple times, or not cited them, but put them on notice for accumulation of junk and debris, mostly out here in the driveway. It'll get addressed after an extended period of time. A couple weeks later, more stuff shows up. I have to send another notice out. It's kind of been a back and forth with them. The property right now as well has an outstanding lien of $385,800 on it for a BTR violation with the same owner from back in 2017. And that's accumulating a daily fine as well still. So the solution from the owner, excuse me, was to get a bunch of railroad ties and hide the RV behind that. There's a set of railroad ties running from his west property line to the east end of the drive that you can see over here. And then slightly set back from that is another set of railroad ties running to the other property line, the east end of the property. Behind that is a second set of railroad ties with potted, probably 10 to 12 foot tall trees that he's trying to hide them with. Some of the trees are starting to die or are dead. He now has the railroad ties, the front and rear set of railroad ties hooked together with some sort of boards, either nailed or screwed together as well. Again, here's a clearer view. This post right here would be the property line between his house and the neighbor's house. The RV is sitting right on that. Up until a few days ago, the tires were starting to settle into the ground. One of the things he said he was going to do is have cement brought in and put down. I responded to him, if you do that, you're likely to have to tear it all back out and put the ground back the way it was, and you're not going to get permits because it won't meet the setbacks. I spoke to Dana Rood, our building official, and he confirmed that it would not meet setbacks either for pavers or anything like that. This is a view before these were installed. And just to kind of give you an overview of where he is not permitted to park that RV, this is our city setback guideline. It's just flipped from his property. So this whole area here, he cannot park in, the RV, and this is where that RV is at. This is the junk and debris when I first started the complaint back on the 10th of this month. These items here have been removed, washer, dryer, microwave, and stuff. However, this large plastic liquid tote, there's a pallet over here, and other junk are still there. This is the posting for the PNU. This is the condition here on the 18th. These are his pavers. These are actually the large concrete things that your outside air conditioning unit sits on. It looks like they were used, and he had several of these, I think 10 of them dropped off. You can see this is the railroad ties that were installed on the east side of the property. This is the condition on the 18th, a bunch of empty pots from the plants, junk sitting over here. Computer's running slow. You'll see in one of the pictures coming up here, he has since put a black tarp skirt around the bottom of the motorhome between him and the neighbor's house, being held up with bungee straps. There are pavers underneath the tires, a couple of those pavers that he used. Here we go. This is the condition of that junk that was there. Apparently, we're gonna go really slow. This is what he's done now, pulled some of these over here so I can no longer get pictures from the neighbor's yard into there, but you can see some of these plants are already dying off. Some that are on the east side of the property in the same condition. This is that black tarp that he's got bungee strapped to the motor home. You can see the pavers underneath the tires. And we're waiting.
Well, he's just a DIY guy.
And again, I've had several email contacts with him telling him, you know, you can't, he'll send something and no, that's not gonna be allowed. Is this gonna make the problem worse? You know, at one point, he sent me the email saying the trees in front of the RV will be spaced to allow for necessary vehicle maintenance and access. There's no way he's getting that RV in and out of there, obviously. So one of the things he did try to tell me is that he needed that for emergency evacuation purposes in case of a hurricane and that sort of thing. This is a condition of the property on the 24th this week. Still have that large liquid tow, this trailer that I don't see a license plate on it anywhere, and it looks like it's been sitting there for quite a while, so.
Is there not enough room for him to get the RV back through the fence and close the fence?
I would think
'Cause
if
would
that trailer was not there, and that's one of the things I said, you know, and at some point he told me, well, I can't fit it back there. Well, I couldn't see into that backyard until he had opened up that gate, and the neighbor called and said, now he's got that gate open, there's all this junk sitting there, there are rats and stuff in and out of there and different things, and that's, I can
mean,
see
so-
with that trailer there, he's not gonna get it in, but he's got a big enough backyard, I think he
Yeah.
can even move that trailer further in and
I was
still.
gonna say, it looks like he would have plenty of room if he would just, you know,
But-
moved it behind the fence.
Yeah,
He
that's.
would be in compliance.
Yeah, so, and again, you know, he's offered up myriad reasons. It's been quite a rabbit trail of things that he's throwing at me, just, you know, about why he should be able to park it
His
there.
court date was today, so he should have came.
Yeah, so, yeah, and when I went by today, he was out digging a hole in the front yard, doing, I don't know what, so it's
Gonna
just,
bury the motorhome.
I don't anticipate it's gonna be getting taken care of anytime soon, so. As far as the RV parking, for the CDC complaint, compliance can be met for the RV grass parking in a residential area. The motorhome must be moved to the side or rear yard behind a 6-foot fence, wall, or hedge. It does need to meet those guidelines I showed you in that hash marked picture. Recommendations for the grass parking, requesting compliance on or before April 9th of 2025, or a fine of $150 per day for each day that violation exists. As far as the accumulation of the junk and debris, compliance can be met for junk and debris by all junk appliances, debris, garbage, refuse being removed from the property. Requesting the compliance 5 days after the board renders its order for that matter.
Okay. Board, do we have any questions for Inspector
Yes,
Jensen?
I do.
Mr. King?
Regarding your timeline of April 9th, if, based on history and all the communication you've had with the homeowner, that's like 6 weeks from now. So my question is, it appears to me that it's fairly predictable that
Yeah, I think.
that's going to happen, so I'm wondering why 6 weeks?
I think April 9th is.
Oh, 2 weeks.
A couple
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah, it's not-
Yeah.
That's all right, I had an extra
A lot of
month in
times,
there.
yes, I spoke to my supervisor, and we agreed that, yeah, he's had more than enough time in
Yeah.
the track
Yeah,
record.
good.
That, you know, we're gonna just
fine,
keep that
it's
set,
marching.
so.
Do we need to make two separate motions on this? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Board, do you have
Can you
any
pull
other?
those, leave those up there too on the screen?
You have
Motions.
any other questions, Board, for Inspector Jensen? No? All right. Can we get a motion?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
CDC RV parking, I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before April 9th, 2025. The respondent does not comply that date. The board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Let's see. The PNU junk debris violation. Oh, that's going to be a nuisance abate.
Back to nuisance.
I moved enter order finding the respondent in violation of code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to abate and maintain the nuisance, and charge the respondent with the reasonable cost which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Inspector. All right, our next case is 4.5 on our agenda, case 13-25, find respondents Iris Valentine at 1446 Thames Lane in violation of court code for short-term rental and issue an order with a compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that case? Will you step forward, please, ma'am? Good afternoon. Will you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Iris Valentin Villanueva.
Would you step up to the microphone?
Step to the
just a little
microphone,
bit?
make sure our clerk can hear you.
We can't hear you, yeah.
Is this better? My name is Iris Valentin Villanueva.
Ms. Valentine, I have one question for you. Do you admit or deny the violation today?
Well, I admit,
You
yes.
admit it?
Yes.
Okay, if you'll have a seat right there, we'll hear back from you after we hear
Okay.
from the city. Thank you. Can I get a first
Yeah,
motion?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second?
Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Ms. Green, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Board. Sarah Green, Code Compliance Supervisor for the City of Clearwater. This is case 13-25 for 1446 Thames Lane. There's one violation for a zoning use violation for an illegal short-term rental in a residential zone property. These are the dates the notice of violation was mailed and the date it was posted, the compliance dates, and the certified mail receipt was returned unsigned. This is a picture of the posting. On the left, these are a little small, but I'll kind of tell you what you're looking for. These are the Airbnb listings, so when you've taken a screenshot, when you select a listing date, it'll tell you what the minimum night stay is. In this case, the minimum night stay is listed at 2 nights minimum, which would be under our monthly allowed limit within residential property. So when I first saw the property in December, I took a picture of it. It was sort of set to a 2-night minimum. After the first compliance date, after I sent out the notice of violation, it was still set to a 2-night minimum. The date of posting on January 30th, it was still set to a 2-night minimum. After the second compliance date on February 7th, it was still set to a 2-night minimum. In mid-March, when I was prepping for Code Board, I took a screenshot, it was still set for a 2-night minimum, and this morning, it was still set for a 2-night minimum. So nothing has changed since I started the case. Compliance can be met for the legal short-term rental by ceasing to short-term rent the property and update all rental pages to reflect a monthly minimum night stay requirement, or by removing the rental listings altogether. Requesting compliance on and before April 26, 2025, or a fine of $250 per day for each day the violation continues to exist. Do you have any questions?
Board, do you have any questions for Ms. Green?
I do. Why is the date so far out for something like this that could be changed today?
We generally give 30 days notice, but obviously the board can impose a shorter timeline if they'd
Okay,
like.
thank you.
Okay, Ms. Green. Ms. Valentine, team, will you come back up, please? Hi. What's going on here? You do understand that you're not allowed to rent for less than 30 days in the city of Clearwater, correct?
I do, and I haven't been here. I had my brother-in-law pass away in December, so I had to travel to Puerto Rico. He passed away on the 28th. I immediately flew out of town. My sister had cancer surgery scheduled for January 28th, so I had stayed the entire time over there. I didn't actually receive any of the violations or anything. I left somebody else in charge because I wasn't in town. So I do apologize about that, but when I checked it last, it was at the 31 days, so I'm not sure.
There was just a picture of it today, that it's
Which
still
is
2-night
what
minimum.
I was like, it was at 31 days when I looked at it, so I don't know. Honestly, I haven't checked it. I'm gonna go and check it now on my
I would say,
phone.
being
but-
the owner, you probably need to keep up on stuff
I
like that,
do,
you know?
but I work-
I understand we have
No,
things that
I
happen in our
understand that.
families and stuff.
I was actually planning on moving back into the house now in May. My job requires me to work 7 days a week, And even if it's remotely from wherever I'm at, which is how I was able to travel and maintain my job. Pissed off a lot of family members, but I haven't, because of my full-time job, which is what actually, helps me do what I have to do to take care of my family. But I had already spoken to my neighbors and told them, look, don't worry about it, I'm coming right back in for now in May. And also, I've only had long-term stays there, so again, I'm not sure why it doesn't show that, but I have had a person staying there for 2 months.
Maybe they were subleasing it to Airbnb without your knowledge.
No, I think it's the person that I left in charge, honestly, if I'm being
Well,
honest.
you have to set that thing, there's a ticker
I
in
had
there that you
already
can
checked
set
it this
you know.
morning, and it was at 31 days.
She showed a picture of this today that it was at 2. Nice, ma'am. But you do understand that, that you need to get into compliance and have it, and get it changed and not, which only, I'm kind of familiar with those things. It don't take but a couple minutes to change that up real quick, so. But let's try to
I
get in
did
compliance
check
and-
it this morning, and it was at 31 days, so I'm looking for it right now.
Can I offer something? Might be good for her
Yeah,
to get
go
with
ahead.
the compliance officer to see make sure they're looking at the same site and get it changed and satisfy the compliance
Yeah.
officer.
You can get with Miss Green and you guys can,
Yeah.
compare notes and
No
make sure
problem.
that you get it set to where it is. Because, since we found you in violation this first time, if it comes back up to us again, the fine's going to be more than
I understand.
$250. It's gonna
I
double.
understand.
And we don't like to see people back a second time when we clearly,
I don't have time to come back a second time.
I understand.
Believe me, they're kind of mad at me that I'm here today, so I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
And I accept responsibility. I should have paid more attention to it, but,
Airbnbs are great, they make the money and they bring in money, but, you gotta be in compliance and stay with
all I
what
need
the
it
city
for is to
code
pay
is.
the mortgage, because that's my retirement house right there,
I
so.
hear you, I hear you.
Ms.
But thank
Bowden,
you.
is there someone staying there now?
Yes, there is.
And how long have they been there?
Since February something.
February something? so-
Yeah,
okay.
I'll look it
For a
up,
month at least.
but they've been there since February. Hold on.
All right, well, thank you a lot, Ms. Valentine, and just make sure that you stay in compliance. so we don't
Since
have to-
February 15th.
Okay.
And they're scheduled to leave on April 5th.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, board, can I get a?
Yeah,
Second
I
motion.
move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before April 26, 2025. If the respondent does not comply by the date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation. $250, sorry, per day per violation for each day the violation continues to exist. If the fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Can I have a second?
Hang on just a moment. I'd like to make a second motion on that we shorten the time. It's a matter of hours to take that posting down, not 30 days.
Well, we've had in the past cases where people have had difficulty having the actual company comply. That's why you normally give them a little longer period of time.
I still would like to make that motion.
You can, I was just.
I know I can. I would like to come down to April 1st.
You wave a second on
I
that,
guess for
anyone?
2 weeks.
I'll second it.
You'll second it? All in favor of Mr.
Engel.
Engel's motion? All opposed?
Nay?
Aye. The motion is defeated.
So we're back to the first
So we're
motion.
back to the second motion.
We have a second on the first motion.
Second.
We already have a second, so now we just have
All in
Excuse-
favor of,
Can you, sorry, Rebecca, code manager, can you clarify who, there was a first and a second, and there was I heard the nays, but I didn't hear any, was no one
There was no
approved?
yays.
Were they all nays?
They were all nays.
Okay,
Except for
sorry,
me,
I
I'm
didn't,
the
I only
nay.
heard the.
Except for the motion maker.
Okay, thank you.
and the second, I think,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
There was 2 of us, yes.
Okay, so the second motion
Was not carried.
Has us, yeah.
Right, so you're back to the 30 days.
Okay.
The first motion, we don't have a vote on it yet.
Okay, all in favor of the second motion?
No,
First
first
one.
motion.
First motion, sorry. All in favor of the first motion?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay, yeah, I agree.
All right, the ayes have it. That would be 5-2.
Yeah.
Sorry, who was the other name? I have Mr. Engel.
Anderson
Thank you.
and Engel. Okay, all right, motion carries. On to our next case, 4.6 on our agenda, case 14-25, find respondents Min Van Lee and Thai Throng at 1563 Misty Plateau Trail in violation of code for short-term rental and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? No? Ms. Green, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Board. This property has returned to compliance, so we're seeking a declaration of violation.
Okay. Can I get a declaration?
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code referred to affidavit in this case. The violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion approved.
Thank you.
4.7 on our agenda has been withdrawn. 4.8 on the agenda, case 16-25, find respondents Christine Dorcelis at 214 Highland Avenue in violation of code for fences and walls and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that case? No? Inspector Stevens, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Board. Give the computer a second here. It's still loading up. So, good afternoon, John Stevens, Code Compliance Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is case number 16-25 regarding 214 South Highland Avenue. We have one violation here of our fence maintenance code section 3-808. And it basically violates all parts of 3808, which is about 5 different things, but it's all under 3808. Notice of violation was posted and mailed on December 17th with a compliance date of January the 18th. And we ended up getting the certified mail returned back to us as unclaimed by the owner. This property, you may remember, we had it in the past. We had an abatement order on it because the property owner moved, I think, to a different country, hadn't been maintaining the lot, so we had to get a lot clearing notice and all that and do a couple of abatements there for cutting grass and whatnot. Well, since the hurricanes came through, it knocked down a significant portion of the fence. We let it lay there for a while, hoping some things would change, and nothing has changed. I had to go out and physically post a notice of this hearing back on March the 13th. And that's that posting there. And then here's our initial pictures on December 17th. You can see some of the brush that was there that we had to send the contractor out on the current abatement order to pick that up. But back in behind it, you can see the leaning fence there, way more than the allowable 10 degrees. And you can see in the other picture that actually one panel is kind of down over on that this far corner over here that's face down. This was some other pictures from that fence. She has a very large gate there because they used to pull RVs back in behind there. That has been knocked down. These were our follow-up pictures a couple days after the actual compliance date because the compliance date fell on a weekend. And then these are the pictures this morning. And you can see that nothing has changed. I've not had any contact with the property owner, but I did happen to notice in our files in the city that here recently, apparently she has applied for a residential rental, BTR, but it claims that she's still living there, and I've yet to encounter anyone at the property. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Compliance can be met for the fence maintenance is by obtaining materials to resecure any loose fence panels, replace any rotten or broken boards, or missing fence panels with like material to the existing support post and maintain the fence in a vertical position. Fencing can also be removed to obtain compliance, and as a note, if the support posts are in disrepair then and need to be replaced, then a permit may be required depending on how she decides to do that and what she wants to replace it with. And then our recommendations for the case is request compliance on or before April 26th of 2025. for the violation of fence maintenance, or a fine of $150 a day for each day the violation exists.
All right, board, do we have any questions for Inspector Stevens?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in an affidavit in this case.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, motion approved.
I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before April 26, 2025. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If the fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Thank you, Board.
All right, now on to old business items. Accept the affidavits of compliance as listed for case 5.1.1, 5.1.2, and 5.1.3. Can I get a motion?
I move to accept the affidavits of compliance as listed.
A second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, motion's approved. 5.2 has been withdrawn. On to 5.3, case number 150-24. Accept the affidavit of noncompliance for respondents Carusi Development LLC at 51 Verdina Street for abandoned building. Is there anyone here to speak on that? No. All right, can I get a
I
motion?
move to accept the affidavit of noncompliance and issue an order that imposes fines and states if fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. On to 6.1, our agenda, case 56-24. Consider request by petitioner Clearwater Residential Trust, Fick and James R. Trey at 1608 North Osceola Avenue to reduce the fine, RE abandoned building, roof maintenance, exterior services, and if approved, issue an order that specifies the fine that includes administrative costs and establishes the date payable, or the lien will revert back to its original amount. Board, we have a separate piece of paper here that a lien reduction application. Is there anyone here to speak on that case? Sir, will you come forward to the podium? And state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Jim Ficken, 1608 North Osceola Avenue.
Good afternoon, Mr. Feckin. What's going on, buddy?
Well, it's been a long case, and we finally got it done.
I remember.
And I'm requesting that the lien be reduced to the administrative costs. And I've submitted some explanation of details of some of the hardships involved, and the hardships involved in trying to pay the fine. So I can read it, or I can just see if you have any questions.
Rebecca, is the property in compliance?
Yeah, that's one of my first questions. Are you in compliance with
Yes.
everything that's going on?
Yes.
Rebecca, Code Compliance Manager. Yes, our inspector has been out to the property, and the property does meet our minimum code standards to be in compliance.
Good deal, good deal. Thank you for doing that. So, board, do we have any questions for Mr. Ficken?
No, I have, what are our admin costs?
Yeah, what are our admin costs on this one?
$1,456.20.
1,156. Was it 1,100?
1,400.
56 and 20 cents.
and 20. All right, I don't see a problem reducing that. Board, what are your thoughts on it? Board?
No objection.
I'm good.
Everybody good? Is everybody good with that? Okay. Can I get
Yeah.
a motion on that?
I move to enter order reducing the amount of lien to administration costs of $1,456.20 payable within 30 days, or the lien will revert to its original amount.
Question
I have a
before we...
question. Is it possible to get a little bit more time to pay that? I'm still trying to pay off some other debts.
Board,
So this is
Andy,
it.
is that a set?
You can do more in certain circumstances. How much time do you need?
Another 30 days, I think I can get it
So
done.
60 days.
60 days? Fine, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
I move to enter the order reducing the amount of the lien administration cost of $1,456.20 payable within 60 days. or the lien will revert to its original amount.
Ms. Engel, did you have a question?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck,
Thanks
sir.
for coming, Mr. Fickett.
Thank you for cleaning the property up.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Appreciate your persistence.
Next up on our agenda is nuisance abatement lien filings. 7.1 on our agenda, case number 28-25. Accept the nuisance abatement lien for respondent Floretta Jefferson Estate at 1325 Woodbine Street for lot clearing and issue an order with the compliance deadline and authorize the city to mitigate the violation if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that case? No? Inspector Dixon, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Board. Inspector Dixon, Code Compliance Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is case 28-25 for 1325 Woodbine Street. There's one violation of overgrowth and accumulation of trash and debris. Notice violation was posted mid-February with a compliance date 10 days later. I believe this property is vacant. It kind of looks like maybe a neighbor is cutting down the front yard, but the backyard is pretty tall. This is the day of posting. And you can see through there that the grass in the back is about as high as that chain link fence, and up near the building is tall as the picnic table there. This was mid-March. And here it is yesterday. The front yard's knocked down, but around the house and the backyard is still very tall.
No contact with the owners or anything, huh?
No, I think it's vacant. I do remember seeing a junk car in the drive that's been removed, so I don't know. Maybe somebody passed away or something, I'm not sure. Compliance can be met for lot clearing by clearing all overgrowth and debris from the entire property, and requesting compliance 5 days after the board renders its order.
Board, do you have any questions for Inspector Dixon?
I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of the board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to abate, maintain the nuisance, and charge the respondent with all reasonable costs which become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, motion is approved. Board, if we have nothing else for us to see today, I will adjourn this meeting.